All right, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to the CX Revolution Leveraging AI Tech for Seamless Customer Experience webinar, where we embark on a journey into the future of customer experience through communication tech platforms. In today's hyper-connected world, the pursuit of delivering seamless and exceptional customer experiences has become paramount for CX professionals across industries. AI technology has emerged as a game changer, allowing organizations to redefine the way they engage customers through communication tech platforms. Today, get ready to unlock, the potential of omnichannel CX strategies and gain the tools you need to stay at the forefront of customer experience revolution. We have 4 industry experts joining us, 2 from Singapore, 1 is based in Malaysia, and 1 is in Australia. So now let's begin our exciting journey of the CX revolution and discover cutting-edge technology in redefining CX strategies. To start our journey, we have a presentation by Admir Mashin, Head of Platforms for APAC at Infobip. He will be delving into how brands transform customer journeys through advanced communication tech. He embodies platforms framework, follows data-driven process of segmenting industries and business categories, and execute clear tactics to enhance strategies. Fun fact about Admir is in just a few days, he's diving into the world of fitness games, fitness games for the first time, a functional fitness competition with a lot of running, jumping, and sweating. So Admir, when and where this is happening?
Hello, good morning, everyone. And thanks for the introduction, Joan. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today. It's happening this weekend, actually, in KL. Functional fitness is actually a movement sequence based on real-life situations, like moving with a purpose. Running, riding bike, skiing, rowing, pushing, pulling sled, and workstations like that. It's going to be a wild and fun ride, definitely.
Wow, okay. All the best on that, Admir. Now, before I give you the floor, describe in one word the current state of CX now.
If I have to use one word, I was thinking about how to improve it, actually. And that one word would be innovation, especially innovation with communication technologies that enables businesses to excel in their customer experience, enable them to outpace competition and drive remarkable business growth. In fact, during my presentation, I'm going to highlight recent Infobip's innovations that are developed for better customer experience and for increasing scalability.
Okay, we got a word there, innovation. All the best, Admir, over to you.
Thank you. All right, let's get started. Good morning, everyone, again. My name is Admir. I'm based in KL, Malaysia, and I closely collaborate with a team of customer-facing experts who oversee regional platform customer segment, especially focusing on B2B platforms. Before we move to the interesting topic of today's panel, I'm going to make a brief introduction about Infobip, share some tips and technologies that I really hope you'll find useful in growing your business. Infobip is a leading global cloud communication platform powered by a wide range of messaging channels and solutions, primarily for advanced customer engagement, authentication, and security. And over the last 15 years, we have grown into the world's most connected cloud communication platform and engineering powerhouse, with more than 70 offices in 6 continents, over 3,700 experts, and over 800 direct operator connections, with the goal of changing the way the world communicates. Our omnichannel communication platform connects customers to billions of mobile devices around the world, and it's designed to handle massive volumes of traffic so our customers can focus on growing their business without worrying about whether their communication channels will be able to keep up. Our technology is made to help our clients and partners overcome complexity of communications, help them grow their business, build better customer relationships, and enhance customer experience. And all that in fast, secure, and reliable way. These are just some of the reasons why thousands of companies companies have chosen Infobip to help them with their digital transformation, to set up their omni-channel communication strategies, help them to secure their communications, or just simply help them with their customer engagement. We actually help our customers from all industries to build, coordinate, and intelligently orchestrate all engagement activities across customers' lifecycle. And during today's presentation, I'm going to pay a bit more attention to the B2B platform segment as a type of business that brings together individuals and organizations so they can interact and innovate together. Infobip platform makes it simple. Our product stack includes everything customers would expect from a communication platform, beyond just ability to send messages over multiple channels. We provide programmable and single interface within a scalable and easy-to-use communication platforms that offer our customers freedom to build conversational experience their end customers demand. Of course, we offer native access to huge amount of channels like SMS, MMS, voice, video, email, and all major digital channels through either API or web interface. And on top of that, we offer a range of SaaS-based solutions like customer engagement solution, customer data platform, chatbot building platform, and cloud contact center solution. Infobip enables platforms to take advantage of its world-leading CPaaS offering, which stands for Communications Platform as a Service. From omni-channel communication offering that I already mentioned, core traditional telco channels like SMS, MMS, RCS, voice, all the way to the email, video, live chat, web and mobile push. Then chat apps and social media, including global and regional providers like WhatsApp, Viber, Telegram, Instagram, Messenger, and regional APAC chat apps like Line, KakaoTalk, and Zal, all the way to digital channels like Google's business messages and messages for business. Analyzing platform's journey with CPaaS, we discovered that most of platforms have similar goals, but also same pain points in their CPaaS journey. And we found that differences exist at all stages of their journey with CPaaS, from onboarding, sending and monitoring traffic to troubleshoot. One of the main points of our strategy moving forward was to design a system to enable us, as well as our customers, to scale. As the biggest CPaaS platform, we have a lot of platforms as our customers, and we have open lines of communications with them, and we listen to their needs. We also learn from our own experience, as we saw a gap in the market that nobody was addressing, and we changed our business objective to put a focus on solving these issues. First of all, we started from forming a team of experts from all areas, from channel, product, routing experts. We visited and brainstormed our platform customers. We organized to identify exactly what pain points they are experiencing, not only when it comes to sending messages, but we also wanted to see what their entire process regarding communication looked like and how we can improve it. In our research, we found that to scale, customers need to optimize onboarding processes and enable them to start sending traffic with as little effort as possible. When we were talking with them, our customers said, if you build this, it will change the playing field completely. This will be a game changer. And we did it. It actually required a completely new API solution, and that's where our CPaaS X comes into play. So CPaaS X is a modular set of APIs built with platforms for platforms in order to solve platform-specific pain points when they're enabling their clients to send traffic. So when platform business like yours with different solutions, products, and tools built for your end customers, so when you're integrating and enabling communication services as part of your offering, you're usually going through a bunch of operational work just to enable specific communication service for your end customers, such as sender registration and provisioning, setting different sending strategies, setting different numbers and use cases per customers, or like just separating billing and reporting for them. Therefore, Infobip developed modular and flexible API, CPaaS X API, intended mainly for platform business to eliminate complexity of CPaaS integration by relying on Infobip to carry some of these business and development logics for you. The biggest value that CPaaS X is bringing are reducing operational load with automation, decreasing engineering effort, as we build the logic now that your platform no longer has to. And with CPaaS X, we are achieving the goal of speeding up time to market for platforms. If we go into more details now about these values, it's actually unbelievable how many processes are still manual even today. And reducing operational workload is achieved through automation, either automation of number provisioning or campaign registration. So usually when you onboard new customer, there's a lot of operational work involved in registering SMS campaign, for example, from getting information needed to register SMS campaign to emailing back and forth. Now your platform business can automatically provision provision resources like domains and numbers over API, or you can integrate a widget into your platform where allowing your customers to provision numbers independently and on their own. Or you can simplify campaign registration process with API by connecting to us over API and sending information needed for campaign registration, and then receive instant alerts about progress and next steps. And all that with getting granular reports about consumption. Now platforms can get billing and performance reporting per each customer, each channel, and use case. Today in technology industry, it is crucial to be able to implement and maintain solution with all functionalities, of course, but with minimal engineering effort. So the exact way to reduce engineering effort is to leverage on CPaaS to handle development logic for you. For example, integrating multiple channels with a single API instead of using multiple standalone APIs for every communication channels you want to integrate, which of course require engineering and development effort. Our Messages API allows anyone to implement multiple channels like SMS, WhatsApp, email, any other, with just one single API implementation, while CPaaS takes care of failover and coordination seamless. In this case, you just have to provide the content and we will adjust it to fit any channel. Another example of reducing engineering effort is by optimizing messaging approach with predefined sending strategies that are tailored for different use cases. And innovations like this, like CPaaS, will help your business to accelerate through. Because CPaaS isn't just about sending messages, it handles the entire logic in all steps of the journey, which significantly reduces engineering hours required for implementation, provisioning, sending, and reporting. Finally, CPaaS speeds up time to market, whether you're just making sure that all of your new customers utilize communication services faster by providing automated onboarding, provisioning, and campaign registration, or you're entering completely new markets for your business, where Infobip global presence and expertise with regulations and compliance can help you to scale faster. If we look under the hood of CPaaS, these are some of the APIs and available channels that make our solution, which I'll walk you through in next few minutes. Starting from Entity API, which removes industry standard accounts and sub-accounts. It actually flattens, simplifies account hierarchy, allowing your business to operate with only one account. And with single API call, you can add your customers as specific entities. Then you can assign different resources, such as numbers, to these entities and separate billing and reporting for each entity or like for each of your end customers. Moving forward, Application API, for example, handling various use cases for your customers usually require different settings and environments. With Application API, now your platform business can create multiple platform environments on Infobip side, which could be used to separate different use cases, setups, or traffic for your end customers. For example, creating application for testing and production environment, or separating promotional from transactional traffic, or having one application set for one-way messaging, another set for two-way messaging. Messages API is actually single API for a bunch of channels. As you can see on the slide, how API structure looks like. Adding multiple channels with a single API will reduce implementation time and make adding a new channel to your offering much easier. It will allow you to add content and choose a sequence of channels for delivery. For example, setting RCS as a first channel for message delivery. If message isn't delivered for any reason, communication would be translated and sent via WhatsApp. If that doesn't work, fall back to SMS, and all that with just one API. We have pre-built multiple sending strategies as well that can be used for randomizing traffic across multiple senders. Let's imagine the case you're sending campaign randomly from 10 different senders to thousands of customers. The key sender strategy will remember which sender was used last time when interacting with that customer, and it will always stick the same sender with that customer, which will prevent the situation where one customer receives messages from different senders. Or similar example with geo-targeting strategy, common in some markets like US, where, for example, client restaurant chain use multiple numbers as senders with different local prefixes. And when sending messages, geo-targeting strategy will match these sender prefixes with customer number prefixes to make this communication appearing as a local message. And finally, subscription API allows you to subscribe only on events you are interested in and interested in getting notifications only for those subscribe events, like events subscribed based on channel, based on entity, application, or use case. For example, your platform is sending promotional messages and you're interested to subscribe only for click rate analytics. So in that case, your platform doesn't have to build the logic on which analytics data to keep or what to discard. If we summarize all that has been said, and by highlighting all areas where we brought innovation with CPaaS X, starting from automation of onboarding through resource provisioning and campaign registration, which enables platform to scale, reduce manual workload, and speed up time to market. Then flexible or flat account hierarchy means we have made account and sub-accounts redundant. Now platform business can keep things modular and you can easily create different entities to represent each of your end customers, then allocate resources to these entities and enable them for messaging. Third innovation provides the ability to send messages across multiple channels and through a single API, making simplified expansion into OTTs. You only need to specify the content and order of the channels that you want to use, and we will automatically adjust the content to fit specific channel and handle failovers in the backend. We have made reporting extremely granular. Platforms can get billing, consumption, or performance reports for each client, channel, use case, or everything combined. And all that leading to providing support for scaling and geo expansion. When your platform business tend to go global, it's quite common to deal with different channel specifics and complexity of regulations from country to country. And Infobip's global coverage and local presence can help you to navigate these global rules, compliance, and regulations. As a closing remark, if we wrap up everything in one sentence, CPaaS X holds the greatest value for platform business. It has a mission to reduce complexity of CPaaS. It is a set of modular and flexible APIs that speed up onboarding and time to market, reduce operational load and engineering effort. That would be all from my side for now. Thank you all for attention. Back to you, John.
All right. So what an insightful presentation, Admir, on enhancing CX through advanced communication tech. So great to understand how the latest communication technology is providing seamless integration for the purpose of better customer experience. We have some questions here. One question is from Fernanda Lopez. Can you provide more details on how your CPaaS API handles authentication and authorization to prevent unauthorized access or breaches? Are there any built-in features that aid monitoring or detecting potential threats?
Okay, so that's actually basically 2FA, two-factor authentication service that can be enabled over multiple channels, not just SMS, but we also support 2FA over voice or even some chat apps channels. Integration-wise, it can be integrated over API mainly. This is how platform business usually communicates between each other. Let's say communication is achieved with secure version of protocols, depending on type of integration and connections that we have between our customer and our platform. So it's usually via secured version of protocols like HTTPS, or even if client requires, it can be additionally secured with VPN. When it comes to mechanism of generating the OTP that are used as part of 2FA, two-factor authentication, we provide our own mechanism where we can generate the OTPs that will be used for additional authentication, or client can generate the numbers on their own, and then we are just connecting the dots, enabling customers for double authentication.
All right, thanks for that, Admir. One last question. What are certain don'ts that need to be considered in the field of communication tech platforms that brands and businesses should be mindful of?
I would say don't ignore customer experience, customer needs for interaction over their preferred channel. Do not ignore potential engagement pitfalls as well, because from platform perspective, the more interactions are generated, the more pitfalls there might be. And if just one link in that chain breaks, result can be failed campaigns, missed messages, downtime, or low sales and low conversion rates.
All right. So once again, Admir, thank you so much for your presentation. I also would like to extend my appreciation to our audience for the questions. I'm confident that we're all enthusiastic about delving deeper into leveraging AI tech through platform integration. So see you in the panel discussion, Admir. Right. So let's move on to our next segment, which is the panel discussion. I am honored to moderate today's panel discussion. We have a distinguished panel of industry experts who will impart their insights and experiences on revolutionizing CX for future-proof efficiency. But before that, let's have a quick poll. All right. So the question here is, have you integrated AI tech or communications tech platforms okay, into your CX strategies? Yes or no? So a lot are actually saying yes to some extent, right? There is a few saying that no, but they are interested. Okay, that's good to know. So thank you so much for participating, guys. So let's see how this panel discussion help you to embrace communication tech platforms into your CX strategies. Now, joining me today are Lisa Collins, Director of Experience Platforms at Accenture. She has lived and worked across 5 continents and has experience from some of the largest SaaS vendors globally. One interesting fact about Lisa is she has watched 1987 Patrick Swayze's movie, Dirty Dancing. You won't believe this, at least 40 times, right? 40 times. You can probably recite half of it. So this is really interesting, Lisa. Why Dirty Dancing? Are you into dancing too?
No, I think I just started watching it when it first came out, and for some reason I've just managed to catch repeat viewings of it, and I love it. It's a great movie.
Nice. Okay. Well, Lisa, please describe in one word, okay, the current state of CX now.
I would say that it's adventurous.
Adventurous. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Lisa. Welcome to the panel. So next is James McIntyre, Customer Experience Lead at Cashrewards. He is passionate about creating customer-centric solutions that is aligned with the business goals and vision, and that leverage data, technology, and creativity. Now, a fun fact about James is that he is a volunteer lifesaver from Melbourne, Australia. This is amazing, James. Are you still actively doing this?
I am. We're obviously coming into summer in Australia here. So this time of year, everyone likes to think about hitting the beach, and those volunteers in life-saving start to be more active in the community and on the beaches, patrolling and making it a safer experience for everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, James. And could you please describe in one word the current state of CX now?
I think there's never been a more exciting time to be in CX, but it's also a challenging time because I think customers want and expect more than ever, and they're comparing you to market leaders. We know they're willing to pay more for great customer experience, but they'll also switch if they don't get it. So we have better technology, but we need to understand the problem that we're trying to solve so that we can bring it to life in a way that really makes sense for customers.
All right. Thanks for that, James, and welcome. Next is Perna Pant, co-founder at Radarr. She has over 18 years of experience in digital marketing space in roles that have spanned digital tech strategy, social media intelligence, 360 marketing, social CX, and data analytics. A very interesting fact about Perna is that she grew up in 5 different countries, namely India, Turkey, Russia, Singapore, and the UK. Perna, which one is your favorite?
Wow, that's a tough question. Everyone is special.
Right. Okay. So now one word that will describe the current state of CX.
So many great words have been used already. The word that I think of, especially in the past couple of years post-COVID, evolution or evolving. That's what I would say is my word for the day.
Okay, evolution, right. Thank you so much, Perna, and welcome. And last but not the least, welcome back on the floor, Admir. Are you there, Admir?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. All right, welcome, Lisa, James, Verna, and Admir. What an exciting panel we have here. I'm ready. We are all ready to learn from all of you. Let's kick off the discussion with the topic CX scores or performance. So we want to know how you assess a brand's CX outcomes, right? So let's start with Dirty Dancing fan, Lisa. Okay, how do you leverage, Accenture's tech services and solutions in improving CX scores of brands you are working with?
So we recently came up with some research around brands that are thriving. And really what we looked at is how life-centric they were. So when we think about assessing CX scores, we are taking things beyond just looking at customer centricity and really looking at how life-centric are they. So there's a couple of areas that we would look at. The first is how focused are they on people first and not products? So I'll give you an example. If a customer walks into a bank, you're a retail bank, are you looking at them and thinking about, okay, we want to sell them a checking account or a mortgage product? Or are you thinking, how can I help this person pay their bills? Or how do I help them purchase a new home? The other two areas are around activating data from one-to-one interactions and making sure that you really do have this centralized view of who your customers are. You're not just capturing, what form they're starting on the website, but you're also capturing insights around what conversations they're having with their relationship managers if you're a wealth bank. And then lastly, simplifying to be more relevant. So really doing the work that it takes to break down the silos internally and make sure that you are guiding customers along their journey. You're not organizing around how you're structured internally as a business.
Right. So I think you're right on that, Lisa. There is a report that you said earlier from Accenture, like those businesses who are willing to make bold and creative changes in order to adapt how consumers changing will maintain its relevance and definitely thrive as well, right? So James, I have a question for you. Would love to hear from your side. What are the best practices for establishing an effective CX measurement strategy?
Yeah, great question. I've always thought that what measured gets done. So it's really important to have that right measurement for your CX program. And it's also differs from business to business. So deciding on those metrics that matter is crucially important so that you can operationalize those insights and it moves forward from just sort of nice to know. So you've got to measure what matters to your customers, but also to your business. I think aligning with the customer journey is super important. So you need to look at what journey stage, what is the primary metric that you're looking to measure? Is it NPS, CSAT, CES, service NPS? They've all got a place. You need to align that with your leadership and also your company OKRs or KPIs. So it's laddering up to, the wider purpose of the business. So I worked with a business that was measuring NPS for a long time, and it was very much a nice to know. It then became an OKR for the whole business, and it really started to get traction and to be really used as a way to bring people together to solve problems. It's really good to be able to educate people on those metrics and also to look at how you can visualize that. That's really important as well for people. Dashboards with the right level of information, the frequency of measurement. And I'm a big believer in making things visual as well. A lot of people are visual people. We live in the digital world where we're all in spreadsheets and data and dashboards. So how can you make that really, really jump out and make that memorable? Things to watch out for, nice to know and vanity metrics. Just because you can measure something doesn't mean you should. Too much data, like you can have too much data. And also siloed metrics. So yeah, at Cashrewards and other brands I've worked with, we've looked at NPS on a brand level. We've looked at NPS at engagement stage. Customer effort score is really important for customer service, and then having those discussions regularly around what you're listening to. Member journey dashboards to include all your customer data, and then it's not only having the right the right metrics, it's making sure that you have the right forums internally to operationalize around what you're hearing. So measure the right things, make sure people can understand that, and that it's in a way that can bring people together, and then have the right forums to actually act on that and operationalize those insights for your customers and for your business would be my key points.
All right. So thanks for that, James. You mentioned a very good point there, metrics that matter, right? That are aligned to your business goals, values, your vision, right? Now, I also would like to move on to Perna, right? For Radarr, how do you use social media and digital conversations to improve the CX performance of brands you are working with?
Thanks for that question, Jovan. I think both the points, or a lot of the points that Lisa and James made, apply throughout the organization. So I think it doesn't matter if you're looking at social or you're looking at some of the more traditional platforms that were used in CX. Of course, we see social coming up as one of the key players, and it's become something that consumers turn to almost first in a lot of instances when it comes to speaking about their CX. So their kind of experiences with a brand. Not to repeat anything that was already mentioned, but we also try to encourage our clients and the brands that we work with to try to look at social as a bit more of a holistic behavioral insight into what your audience is doing. And so we kind of complement whatever CX scores and metrics that matter to the organization, along with additional metrics, like things like change in sentiment on the type of queries you're getting, or changes that you see when it comes to triggers and barriers and the types of tags and orientation of the types of queries that you're getting. Looking at factors like purchase intent or trial intent. Something that I'll just talk about very quickly is an EdTech client that we work with very closely. And of course, initially when they started out, all that mattered was NPS, and NPS is the end all and the be all of all of our experiences. But I think when it comes to something like education, it's not just a transactional kind of business. There needs to be an emotional driver, there needs to be a trigger, there are several different types of barriers. And so we started to measure many of those things along with the typical CX scores. So of course you're looking at NPS, you're looking at CSAT scores, etc. And then you're trying to understand like what's driving this customer. So kind of like what Lisa said, like what has driven this customer to do a course in the first place. And so when you're solving his problem or you're helping him with something, you can kind of get to that trigger faster. And I think that's really improved a lot of the CX scores that we were helping the client track. And so much of this is readily available on social. And so that's what I always talk about. You don't need to dig deep and start doing new surveys. A lot of it just exists. And even if people don't necessarily say it to you, they're saying it about you.
Right. So it's really good to know. Thanks for that, Aparna. How social media listening tool is allowing organizations addressing CX issues online, and of course, overall CX as a whole, right? So, Admir, welcome back again. So I also want to know, right, as the head of platforms at Infobip, what do you think are the essential considerations in assessing organizations' CX performance?
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Assessing CX scores in Infobip are influenced with the critical factor like technical expertise, constant support, 24/7, solution consultancy, or customer success management. But I would definitely emphasize here importance of having strong omni-channel customer experience strategies as a key actually in achieving excellence in customer experiences. Great omnichannel strategy is actually outcome of seamless and consistent journey across all channels. And some statistics show that companies with strong omnichannel customer experience see a significant percentage of year-over-year growth. But unfortunately, many companies are still struggling in delivering this great omnichannel customer experience. Since customer expectations are rising, most customers would pay more for better customer experience. And if we just address these key challenges in meeting customer expectations nowadays, like customer data being scattered across different departments and sources, or lacking segmentation and targeting, having low level of personalization or automation, or having disconnected channels, because many companies are focusing on individual channels instead of full customer journey overview, Infobip actually can help offering solutions to overcome these obstacles in meeting customer expectations. We help them to revolutionize their customer experience through all customer journey or life cycle stages.
All right. So you mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if I get it right, Admir, that organizations with strong omni-channel customer experience strategies have significant growth year on year, right? So I think which is also supports what Lisa has mentioned earlier, that those businesses are willing to make bold and creative changes in order to adapt how consumers are changing, communicating where your customers are, employing omni-channel CX strategies will maintain its relevance and also thrive. Thank you so much, Admir. Now, the next topic that I would like to dive into is the CX journey. So let's discuss how brands can attain excellence in customer experience. Let's move on to you, James. What are the key elements brands should consider when mapping and utilizing CX journey to enhance customer satisfaction and retention?
Yeah, great question, Jovan. I always think that great experiences don't happen by accident. I hope they happen by design. And I think I mentioned earlier some stats from Zendesk. 50% of consumers will switch to a competitor after one bad experience, and 80% will actually switch after more than one bad experience. So the stakes are high for getting your customer experience and your journeys right. So really, you're looking to understand the stages of the journey in your customers. What are they thinking, feeling, doing? What are their needs? What are their pain points? And then you can start to design what that experience is. You also need to understand the broader context of the environment that your brand is operating in. So in Australia, for example, we have a lot of pressure around cost of living. And so at Cashrewards, for example, we know that customers are feeling the pinch, and we need to be mindful of that and to help in that broad context. I like to start with looking at my experience in what are the key drivers for success. It's all around starting with an internal team and a cross-section of stakeholders and people that are involved in different areas, and understand what their view is of the customer journey. What are their key stages? Is it join, welcome, engaging, lapse? And within that, what are those moments that matter? When do we really need to show up? And when can we make a huge difference? What are the touch points? So get that cross-functional team around the problem. Speak with customers. To customers, they won't use that language, but do they see that journey playing out in the same way that you do? Looking at your own data is super important, and seeing where those drop-offs are. And then based on what you know, what data you have, what I then like to do is look for that gap in understanding what don't you know, and then that a research and customer engagement piece really comes into play there. So you're looking to understand from customers, what are their pain points, what are the opportunities, and then how do you actually put that together in some sort of a format that you can use to operationalize and organize yourself around. And a customer journey map is a really great way to do that, and to bring people around all the data and all the research, and to build empathy for customers. The audience can't be too much, can't be too little. If you're creating something, how is that going to have longevity, and how can you make sure that you can update that on a regular basis? And you hope that you will, right? You hope that you will be able to update that quite quickly and go, well, you fix that pain point. It doesn't exist anymore. And, some other watch outs are not measuring something end to end. It needs to be an end-to-end view of the experience. So I've seen lots of journey maps, etc., end up in someone's virtual top drawer. So you need to make that highly visible. If you can have it in your office, if you're going into the office somewhere really prominent, that's a really great way to bring that to life. And, the IKEA effect, like co-create with people that are going to be using it as well, so you can get them to input their great insights and come along the journey. And then you understand what the data is telling you, pain points, and then you can bring people together to create the experience. So working with a large health insurer, Medibank, through our measurement, we saw there was a huge drop-off between the join stage and then post being welcomed. So they initially had signed up, they were enthusiastic, they were feeling really great, and then something happened in that welcome experience, which led to that decrease in the service NPS. And through our data, through our insight, what we figured out is when people joined up, it was often in store or on the phone, so they had a really great one-to-one personalised experience that was really relevant to them. And when we started to welcome them, it was with probably too much information, it was a lot of detailed information as you would expect from an insurance product, but it lacked that personal touch, and it didn't really wasn't personalized to their needs. So we created, for every member, they would receive a personal video, a welcome video that would talk to them. It would talk to their level of cover. It would, if it was a family cover, it would show pictures of family, etc. Post that, we saw an increase in our metrics around that. So that was a really great experience, but it brought together having the right measurement, have an understanding of the customer, and then bringing that to life with a relevant technology.
Right, that's really wonderful, James. You should bring Cashrewards here in the Philippines or in Southeast Asia. Right. Anyway, so you mentioned the shocking truth earlier, right, James, about the Zendesk report saying that 50% of consumers will switch to a competitor after one bad experience. So make sure that we take care of our customers, or else they'll go. So now moving on to Perna. So you shared earlier as well how social media listening can be an effective tool to respond to customers posting issues on social media. So aside from this, right, how does social media listening tool can assist brands in developing the right brand CX journey?
Thanks for that question, Jovan. And I think it's very relevant to the moment right now. So I think one of the many things that we offer is a social listening tool. We also have a social media response module. We have your own page analytics. But I think one of the things that we see across all of our clients is how can we kind of integrate this, and how can we create a view of the customer that goes beyond just kind of what you own, but also, when a customer interacts with you on social and so many other platforms. And I think if I just talk about a couple of the points of the CX journey that social really touches, and I think sometimes is not paid attention to in the way that we would have liked. Social kind of helps you track and understand your customer at each stage of the journey. And if you can leverage that by the time they come and interact with you, then you have already kind of understood what's driving them at each of these stages. So I'm going to use one of our travel OTA clients as an example. So they do a lot of work on social because, whenever anybody wants to take a holiday, I think one of the main things you do is get inspiration or inspired by the content you see on social. So from the very beginning, like awareness stage, we help them track like what their customers or potential customers are talking about. So I'm going to use a vague example of, a weekend trip to Bali. And when you start to think about that trip, a lot of that content is shared with you on social, or you talk about it on social. Like, wish I was on a beach in Bali right now. And that, for this particular client, already provides the first potential touch point for their CX journey. The next one would come in research or consideration, where again, we talk a little bit about how when you're doing research, a lot of it is, hey, what do you recommend in Bali? Or what have you seen a friend post about when they're talking about Bali as a potential trip? So in that research phase, when it comes to travel, a lot of that consideration happens on social as well, even before you end up going to a lot of the other touch points that are there. All of these touch points happen in real time, and you can track them using several different technologies, but also Radarr. And our platform classifies your different stages using AI as well. And then what we don't have visibility over is what happens during purchase, if you're interacting with the brand, if you're interacting with the end customer at all. But then when it comes to the next stage, which in travel is usually post-journey, but in the regular CX journey is really post-experience, retention, etc. You always talk about that was such a great holiday, or you're in destination and you're talking about something in destination. Again, that's a touch point for you. If I was the Ministry of Tourism, that's a touch point for the brand to interact with the customer. And the last part of that is advocacy. And so much of that happens over reviews and happens over social. So if James said you leave after after two bad experiences, but the first one plays such a big impact, I think so much of that is shared publicly on social media. and may not be directed at your brand. So we encourage our clients to look in real time, one, at what's being said about you, maybe organically, not necessarily directed at you, but about you, like I mentioned earlier. We try to look at things that AI can help us group stuff into, whether it's themes, topics, sentiment, tags, customer journey, etc. And that's all done using AI. And the last one is to kind of anticipate trends, because that influences so much of the CX journey as well. And if you can be ahead of that before your competitors, then that's the role that social should be playing as a part of your overall strategy.
Right. Thanks so much for that, Perna. Indeed, the best way to create CX journey is understanding your customers end to end, right? And one of the tools that can do this is social media listening tool. So, all right. So this is very interesting insights from our panelists. So let's continue the conversation. I want to hear from Lisa, right? So when working with organizations, where do you start in helping bolster brands' customer experience strategies?
So there's two areas, right? And this is informed by the fact that roughly 78% of customers will only engage with offers when they're personalized, but only 38% of brands are actually individualizing their efforts to customers. So we're seeing a gap between what customers need, how they're responding, and what businesses are actually doing. So the two areas that we look at are data and content to start off with. And the reason being is that that's really what informs the breakaway leaders. So, I spoke previously about life centricity, and what we find is when people and brands are not trying to be life-centric, when they're not trying to be as relevant as possible for their customers, they end up having offers that are functionally equivalent to their competitors, but they're emotionally void. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So Perna had the great inspiration of going to Bali for the weekend, which I definitely need to put in my diary.
You should.
Yeah. But let's say, for instance, when we combine the systems of records about a customer with real-time data, that really allows us to take our offers to the next level. So I'll give you an example. Right now with airlines, when most airlines want to upsell people to business class, say, for instance, and what ends up happening is that once you've completed your check-in, all the business class seats that are available will often get given to staff, which is great, but doesn't make the airline any money. And that's because the real-time capabilities of connecting all the right systems together to identify we can make an offer to a customer hasn't been available in the past, but it is today. So what that means is instead of giving away that business class seat to an employee, when I'm sitting at that gate preparing to fly to Bali or even having a longer haul trip, the airline within like the last 30 minutes or hour before I board can then send me a real-time notification to say, hey, why don't you upgrade to business class? So getting the data right helps us to make those better offers. The second piece that I mentioned is content. So in the past, part of the reason why most organizations, and actually today, will target maybe 10 or 15 key segments is because they've not had the massive funnel of content that's needed to power personalization at a micro segment level. And that's what we're beginning to do with customers in region, which is super exciting. So with one customer in particular, we were able to identify 90 additional micro segments. So these are segments that they can now begin to target. And using Gen AI, what they could do is take all of the content that was sitting in their brand approved portal. So typically in the DAM is where that sits. They could use Gen AI to create micro variations on that content that matches up to those segments. And because they built out this engine, this delivery engine from segmentation through to delivery, they could just begin to pump that out. So some of the results they're beginning to see are a 300x improvement in terms of responses to those kinds of campaigns. And we know that this ability to take content, create and manage it at scale is something that can also potentially cost businesses a lot of money. So actually internally at Accenture, we have saved $70 million by preparing this content pipeline and making sure that we have something that is as efficient and as effective as possible so we can begin to continue targeting customers in a way that's meaningful for our business.
Right. So really it's great to know how you manage to engage micro segments through generative AI. So these are the usual segments that we usually neglect, because of lack of automation and probably strategies, right? So
and lack of money as well. It's expensive to target them, right?
Absolutely, Lisa. So now, Admir, I have a question for you here. How can strategic adoption of omni-channel communication tech platforms enhance and advance customer experience capabilities?
Yeah, we have heard actually a lot of insightful tips from the panelists, but from my standpoint, I would say that investing in conversational technologies is essential, like what you said, future-proof. And I would refer on two main investments here. The first one, use artificial intelligence algorithm as a secret weapon for customer growth and success. And with the power of AI, increase efficiency, maximize conversions, elevate customer satisfaction. Second advice for investment would be creating omni-channel and AI-powered conversational experience, primarily for engaging audience, fostering positive interactions, or like increasing revenue per customers and driving long-term success. And with such technologies, like using digital interactions that are, first of all, automated, conversational, channel agnostic, and not just personalized, but hyper-personalized, customer will be able to improve performance and deliver exceptional results. And these conversational experience solutions that I'm mentioning are actually available on any chat app that customer prefer. And everything can be built over customers' favorite digital channel, from simple use case to the most complex conversational scenarios.
All right, so thank you for that, Admir. So what valuable insights our speakers have shared. Our session isn't yet over, but we are here to move on to the Q&A from our audience. So that we have the first question here, anyone can answer, from J.Ann Encarnado, VP and Head of Corporate Communications and PR at Converge ICT Solutions. And she asked, how CX teams improve discovery of customer complaints on social media amid the increasing restrictions communities in Facebook. So which prevent tools to explore these sites where our customers are and conversing?
I'm happy to take that.
Sure.
It's a little bit of a controversial thing, okay? So I think there are two different types of areas that you can look into when it comes to complaints. I think one is something that's on a very public kind of forum, which is a place where I think customers expect a response from a brand. So if I was flying on an airline, let's say it was called, Air Apple, for lack of a better word. I just looked at my laptop and I thought of that. And I had a bad experience, right? I would say hashtag Air Apple sucks. Now, there's no way the brand would know that that has been posted and it sucks because my meal was cold, or, I didn't get the meal or the seat that I asked for. And I think some of those are shared in a public domain because a customer expects a response from a brand or a response from another customer or somebody to give them empathy or somebody to kind of respond to that experience that they have shared. Another thing about closed forums and closed groups where people kind of go to have these discussions. And I don't necessarily think all of those forums are meant for brands to participate in. And so, yes, they might be sharing complaints there, but they don't really expect a response from Air Apple to come in there and say, hey, how can we fix your problem? Like, I'm so sorry to hear that you had a cold meal. But I think what those forums are really there for, what those groups are there for, and if you get the chance as a brand representative to join one of those groups, is to listen and learn. So I don't think responses are necessary there, and I don't really believe that that is the right forum for brands to respond in, because it seems a little bit nosy, for lack of a better word. But I think where your brand participates in a conversation is maybe somewhere more public. And so even if somebody's had a bad experience, I would want to move them into a private discussion and say, hey, Prerna, I'm so sorry to hear that you had a bad experience on Air Apple. can I DM you to ask you for your details? And then we can start a discussion there, and I can paint a view of what flight the customer was on, what their experience was, etc. Rather than try to go into closed forums, which are not really intended for brands in the first place. So I think there is a little bit, I mean, obviously this changes industry to industry, but I feel like, yeah, there are some which happen on the public space and some on the private space.
Right. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on that, Berna. Definitely, I think you're right. The brand should be there, okay, but you don't need to respond or anything, but to listen, just to understand what are the complaints are, right? And then from there, you solve it offline or in other means, right? So now let me ask this next question to Lisa, but of course, other panelists can answer this. Now, the question here is, how can experience platforms contribute to building long-term customer loyalty and advocacy?
I mean, that's quite a broad question, but I think what the promise is of experience platforms, and whether you're looking, I mean, it's a whole broad range of them in the market for different sizes of businesses. But really what they all tend to focus on is having a data platform that you can then deliver out personalized messages to customers and then have a feedback loop. You can understand what their experiences are. I think what's important is openness. So if you're not an organization that's invested like full stack Adobe, full stack Salesforce, or whatever, you have multiple pieces, you want to make sure that you understand for a specific customer, if this airline is sending me a message, that the paid media person has that signal is now informing the subsequent retargeting that's happening. It's not just sitting in your marketing automation platform. So when I think about experience platforms, I really think about, from an Accenture point of view, we look at how multiple technologies fit together, and the transparency that you have from these behavioral signals and these systems of records is really critical to making sure that the experiences you deliver are consistent. So I think there's different sizes and shapes of experience platforms that fit different kinds of businesses. But really, when I think about loyalty, modern loyalty, when I think of loyalty programs, is really about, it's not just about earn and burn. It's not about having a transactional relationship with the customer. It's about really understanding how can I influence these brand valuable behaviors, and it becomes a conversation. So, maybe the offer that you send to a customer is not to buy a new dress if you're a retailer, but it's to, hey, come and participate in a focus group, or we really want to hear about your opinions. We want you to try out the new platform that we're building. So advocacy and relationships and loyalty is something that experience platforms are a really critical part of. And just one recommendation that I have, there was a book that was released a few years ago called The Loyalty Leap by a chap based out of Australia. I think he ran the Qantas, the Virgin Loyalty program, for a long time. Really one of the best books that I've read around loyalty in the customer experience space that goes beyond just technology as well.
All right, thanks for that, Lisa. Now, to wrap up the discussion, I have just last question to our panelists, right? So what is your top advice for brands looking into leveraging AI tech for that seamless customer experience? Let's start with James.
That's a really, really great question. I would say start with a deep understanding of the problem that you're looking to solve and your customers, and then think how technology can help you to solve that problem.
Right. Thanks so much for that, James. Berna?
Sure, we can have another webinar just answering that question.
Let's do that.
So maybe I'll take a little spin on that question and talk a little bit about how AI is kind of changing this whole space as well, and what the future holds with that. And I think one of the things that I'm personally most excited about is how CX teams can leverage AI better, faster, to make their lives easier, not harder, while still providing that human touch. Because I think a big part of CX is not just kind of automating stuff, but being able to provide that human touch, especially on social, where you really expect a human interaction. Yeah, I think there's a lot that's going to come out of what AI is doing. I don't have the full answers on that as well, but I think in general, if I put a social hat on and I look at how much social has just evolved over the past couple of years, and I think COVID played a huge role in kind of accelerating all of this. We are in a state of evolution, like I kind of started with, and super excited to see what it
Okay, great. Thanks so much for that, Perna. Admir?
I would keep the advice simple, actually. Just share a few tips for brands, for platform businesses in general, to engage with customers in real time on their preferred channels and to be present where and when their customers expect them to be. Set a communication strategy actually to be able to support customer interactions at every point of engagement customer lifecycle, to leverage on Gen AI for personalized interactions, for 24/7 AI-driven support, for example, and in general, elevate business through the power of conversation.
Right. Okay, great. And Lisa?
I've got 3 really quick ones. The first, start with mining your current technology investments for unused capabilities. I've been on the vendor side, I've been on the consulting side. There's always capabilities there that you're paying for that you're not using. Secondly, work with partners who are actually making investments in AI and who deeply understand the space. So, Accenture recently announced that we're making a $3 billion investment in Gen AI and the Gen AI opportunity and AI in general. So look for those ways where you can take kind of plug and play enterprise-ready solutions into the sort of broader Gen AI that's emerging. And lastly, we really need to radically rethink how we work and how to help people keep up with this technology-driven change to really make the most of the capabilities that you already have. Those are my 3 tips.
Thank you so much for that, Lisa. We are so grateful, right, for those tips. Once more, a big thank you to each of our speakers, Lisa, James, Perna, and Admir. As what Lisa said earlier, brands that are bold and creative and who will adapt on how consumers are changing will stay relevant and grow. So remind yourself about that. Also, James mentioned, identify the metrics that matter, that are aligned with your business objectives and also your vision. Embrace omni-channel communication CX strategies and imagine how your customers will appreciate it because you're there where they are, whether it's SMS, emails, WhatsApp, or social media. And definitely our friend Admir from Infobip can help, right? So thank you everyone from joining us today in this era of evolving customer expectations. Mastering the art of seamless customer experience is not just an option, it's an absolute necessity for brands to flourish. And as we witness today, the CX landscape is in a constant transformation and the need for agility and innovation has never been more apparent. Our speakers have provided invaluable insights into how cutting-edge technology is reshaping CX strategies through platform tech integrations. As we conclude this webinar, we would like to thank Infobip, who has been our partner for this event. And thank you everyone once again for being with us today. My name is Joven. Keep evolving, guys. Bye.